day 25. 6 more to go. 26, 27, 28, 29, 35 more to go. Alright. So let's get this one done. So day 25 starts with Nadia selling tickets for school concert event. She has already sold 17 tickets. Her goal is to sell at least 100 tickets. Each day she's able to sell up to 10 tickets. What is the minimum number of days Nadia will need to sell the tickets? Well, several ways you can do that. So she needs to sell 100 tickets. She already sold 17. So that would be that she needs 83 tickets to go, right? Now, remember, every day she's going to sell 10 tickets. So on, let's say, this day right here, on day 1, she sells 10 tickets. On day 2, 10 tickets. Day 3, 10 tickets. And I'm going to do this. Day 4, 10 tickets. Day 5, 10 tickets. Day 6, 10 tickets. Again, day 7, 10, day 7, 10 tickets. Day 8, let's stop here for a second, 10 tickets. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 tickets so far on day 8, right? Now, that's not enough. She needs one more day. On day 9, she's going to sell another 10 tickets. That's going to bring her to 90. Well, you can't stop on day 8, because if she stopped on day 8, that would have been only 80 tickets. So she needed one more day to cover for those 3 extra ones. So that would be 9 tickets. You could have used an inequality. So you know that she already sold 17 tickets. So you can write 17. Okay, seriously? You can write 17 plus 10 times 10 tickets per day, right? So we don't know how many days. 17 plus 10 tickets per day has to be greater or equal to what? Greater or equal to 100. You could have solved that inequality as well. And if you solved it, you got minus 17 on this side, minus 17 on this side. And you would have gotten 10d greater or equal to 83. Divide both sides by 10. And d, number of days, would have been greater than 8.3. But you can't have 8.3 days, so in this case, it would have been the d had to be greater than 9. So either way, you got the right answer. You're alleged the right answer. 2. 3 numbers are plotted on a number line that show this item has 3 parts. This item has 3 parts. Okay. Which expression is equivalent to m minus n? So, alright, so how can we write m minus 1? So another way of writing this is m plus minus n, right? We change the subtraction to addition. So m will always be positive, right? So this is garbage. This is garbage. So now you have a choice between 3 and 4, and the one that looks like the one we just did over here is number 4, right? Because we're changing subtraction to addition and the additive inverse of n, which is negative n. B, for each expression, identify whether the value of the expression is left or right of m on the number line. So remember we did this long time ago. So I'm just going to sort of make up some numbers here. M plus n. So let me put 1 over here. And let me write 1.5 over here. And let me negative 1.5. And let me make this negative 3. Looks like about that, right? So m plus n. If I add negative 1.5 plus 1, it's going to be on this side, on this side. Well, it's still going to be negative, right? So it's going to be to the right of m. So it's going to be somewhere over here, right? M minus n. So if I take negative 1.5 and subtract n, I'm going to be on this side. So remember, negative 1.5 minus n, which is 1, becomes negative 2.5. So it's going to be to the left. It'll be over here somewhere. M plus p, you're adding a negative plus a negative negative, so it's going to be even further out here. Still to the left of m. M minus p, so let's take a look at that. M is negative 1.5 minus negative 3. right? So negative 1.5 plus, and the opposite of negative 3 is 3. That's going to give me positive 1.5. So that's definitely going to be on the right side, somewhere over here in the positive area. Okay, nice question. Create an expression that represents the distance on the number line between m and p. Create an expression that represents the distance on the number line between m and p. Distance can be, well, the distance can be the absolute value of m minus, what is this, minus p? That's what I would have written down. So let's just, let me make sure. Yeah, that sounds about right. Actually, I'm actually going to cheat and see what the answer says. Number 2. And guess what? I was right. M minus p. Number 3. Chris wants to determine the most popular sport of the students at his school. Which sample should he survey? A group of his friends? No. A group of students on the soccer team? No. Why? Because they're all going to choose soccer. Probably. A group of randomly selected students from each grade at the school? That sounds good. A group of randomly selected students from each sports team at his school? No. C. What's the value of the expression below? So here, you can definitely, don't enter this whole thing in your calculator at once. So I would take it in parts. So I don't know. Let's do these two. Okay. So I'm going to do this in the calculator. So I get negative 0.75 minus negative 2/5 minus negative 2/5, and you can enter that as a fraction if you like. So I guess you can take 5th, and if I enter that, it's going to give me negative 0.35. And then we gotta do this part right here. So in the calculator, I'm going to enter 0.4, which is positive, and I'm going to do plus negative 3/4, and that's also negative. So I get negative 0.35 for the first half and minus negative 3.5. So now I have to take care of this. Right. And negative 0.35 minus negative 0.35 is just going to be negative 0.7. Okay, so that's what I would do. So definitely a calculated question. I would just don't enter the whole thing at once. I guess you can. I mean, let me just try. You can tell 0.75. I'm going to try this. Minus negative plus 0.4 plus negative 0.75. Oh, I guess you could have answered the whole thing. Just be careful with your signs. I guess that was my concern. You could have worked out the yellow calculator, which I'm still from school. A. Baker mix 8 3/4 cups of flour with, I'm going to write 8 3/4 cup of flour with what? 2.5 cups of white flour, and this is rye flour. How many cups of white flour does he need for every 1 cup of rye flour? So if I had 1 cup of rye flour, how much of the wheat flour would I need? Good question. So again, let's change this to a unit rate, right? So 2.5. 2.5 is the same thing as 5/2, right? So I'm going to change that over here for you guys. Instead of 2.5, I'm going to write that's 5/2. If it's 5/2, it makes it easier for me because I have to multiply this by 2/5, right? I'll multiply the top by 2/5. Simplify, 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 and now that becomes 1, which is what we want. And on top, again, calculator. You can do it in calculator. I'm just too lazy. 32, 36, 32, 35. It's 35/4 times 2/5. 1, 2, 1, 7. So 7/2, which becomes, to me, 3.5 cups of wheat flour. Well, hopefully that's what you got. 7. Addison wants to take her bicycle more than 80 miles this week. Wants to ride her bicycle. She has ridden her bicycle 18 miles, which inequality could be used to determine the mean number of miles she would need to ride her bicycle each day for 6 more days to achieve her goal. Okay, so again, she wants to ride more than 80 miles. So we have an inequality here that says it's going to be greater than 80. Has to be greater than 80. Can't be 80. Has to be greater than 80. So right away, I would get rid of this guy and this guy because that always says less than 80. So we were looking for something greater than 80. So how many has she ridden already? 18. So 18 miles plus she's going to do this 6 days times however many miles per day. Has to be greater than 80. So look for something that has 18 plus 6m or 6m plus 18. And we have our winner right here. 5. Coach Patrick is ordering football jerseys. The table below shows the relationship between the number of jerseys ordered and the cost. Okay, so I think it's proportional. 10 shirts, 10 jerseys, 75, 20 jerseys, 150, and you can tell it's times 7.5. All right, times 7.5 and times 7.5. So each jersey is $7.50. So now, if you had 52 over here, it's just times 7.5, right? So 52 times 7.5, and he's going to cost spend $3.90. So the key here was you find knowing A was a proportional relationship, right? And knowing how you can easily tell what the multiplier here. And if you did it, you could have done $75 for 10 jerseys, which means that one jersey, right, divided by 10 on top is $7.50. But that would have been your unit rate, and then just multiply that by 52. So either way. 8, a number n is multiplied by negative 5/8, and the answer is negative 0.4. What's the value of n? So what number multiplied by negative 5/8 equals negative 0.4? So what we can do, so think about this. I'm going to make it up. A number y times 2 equals 10. So I ask you a mystery number times 2 equals 10. What would be the operation that you would do? You would go, well, that's easy. I would do 10 divided by 2 to get our mystery number, which is 5. So likewise here, this is an equation, right? So you can divide, or you can, if you notice that this is an equation with a, let me rewrite this as negative 5/8n equals negative 0.4. I just switched the locations here because the coefficient should come second. Now it's a fractional here, so you can divide zeros on your calculator. Just put in negative 0.4 divided by 5/8. If you're doing the equation, you could have just multiplied by the reciprocal, which is 8/5 negative, and then same thing on the outside times times 8/5 negative. So one thing you know for sure, right? So let's just do that. 0.4 negative 0.4 times a fraction here, which is 8/5. 8/5. And if I press enter, it's going to be negative 0.64. Not negative, yeah, positive 0.64. Right, so n is going to be 0.64. And which of these numbers represent 0.64? So you know you're looking for a positive number, first of all. So that's garbage. That's garbage. So it's either be 1 or this. So is negative, or is 0.64 equal to 1/4? No. So it's 16 divided by 25, 0.64. And that's your answer. Let me go back to this question. So a number n is multiplied by negative 5/8, and that's going to give me a negative number, 0.4. So this n has to be positive, because a positive times a negative is a negative, right? Because if you put a negative here, a negative times a negative will give you a positive, and that's not what we want. So this n, the one thing I knew, or you know right away, that it's positive. So this is gone, this is gone. It's just now these two. And even if you didn't do negative 0.4 divided by negative 5/8, you could just substitute here. So just take this 1/4, multiply by negative 5/8, and see if it gives you 0.4. If it doesn't, try the next one. 16/25 times negative 5/8 equals negative 0.4. So see which of these two numbers I can sub in here. That gives me 0.4. Remember, they give you the answer. So that's the beauty about multiple choice. They give you the answer. So just plug it in, see if it works. 9. The elevation at a ground level is 0 feet. Okay, I knew that. An elevator starts 90 feet below ground level. So here's 0. The elevator is over here, so he's at negative 90. And he's traveling for 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, the elevator's at 20 feet. So after 15 seconds, he's at negative 20. So it took him 15 seconds to go this high. Which statement describes the elevator rate of change in elevation during the 15-second 15-second interval? So how much did he travel? From 90 to negative 20. He goes negative 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, right? So he traveled 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. He traveled 70 feet. Right? In how many seconds? In 15 seconds. Okay, so although the question didn't ask me yet, I'm going to find the unit rate. So in 1 second, well, I'm going to divide top and bottom by 15. 70 divided by 15 equals 4.6666666, or 4 2/3 feet per second. That's what I know. So now I'm going to look at my multiple choice. The elevator traveled upward at a rate of 6 feet per second. No, I just found it out. It wasn't 6 feet per second. It's 4 2/3, so that's gone. The elevator traveled upward at a rate of 4 2/3 feet per second. Bingo. The elevator traveled downward. No. The elevator traveled down. Okay. Again, my fault. I should have read multiple choice answers. And right away, C and D, garbage. So now you would have just been between A and B. Okay. 10. What is this? 3 friends own a landscaping business. The number of hours each friend spent on the same project is shown on the table below. Okay, so Edgar worked 17 1/4 hour, Kelly 18 1/4, and Sean 14 1/2. In total, they earned $850 for the job. They put 15% of this amount in a joint savings account for future expenses. Then they divided the rest proportionally based on numbers. Now, how much did Sean receive? Oh my God. Okay, so they got $850, and they said, let's take 15% of that and put in a savings account. So let's multiply by 15%, or 0.515. So 850 times 0.15 equals $127. So $127.50 went to a bank account that they shared. So 850 minus 127.50, let's do that. You're going to get that they were left over with $722.50. So now they're going to split this between the 3 of them. Oh my God. Okay, so here we have, and I'm going to write this not as a fraction, maybe as a decimal. So hang on a second. We divided the hours proportionally. Hang on a second. Okay, so I think I'm going to write this as a decimal. So 17 point, I'm not. leave it as a fraction. So let's add all these. Let's add all these. 17 1/4 plus 18 plus. So instead of 1/4, I'm gonna change this to 2/4, right? Because you have a calculator anyway. So no, sorry. This is 2/4. So 1/4 plus 2/4 plus 2/4. So if I add them up, 17 plus 8. Let me just add them. 17 plus 18 plus 14 equals 49. But this is a total of 50 hours, by the way. Okay, so if I add all this, I'm going to get 50 hours. So we're interested in, what is it, Sean? How much? Sean worked 14.5 hours out of the 50 hours they put in. So what's the percentage here? So think about this. You have a test, you have 50 questions or 50 points, and you got 14.5. What did you get? What's your percentage? So 14.5 divided by 50, he gets 29% of the total. Kelly, it's 18 1/4, so just divide 18 1/4 divided by 50, and she gets 36.5%. So let me write this down. 29%. This gets 36.5%. And then last person, if I'm doing this right, gets 34.5%. That's their share. And hopefully that, if I add all that up, it gives me 100. And it does. And I'm correct. So, and we're only interested in Sean. So Sean receives 29% of this. So they had $722.50. So now they have to split it up. And they're going to give Sean 29% of that. Let's find out what 29% is. 722.50 times 0.29. And Sean is going to get $209.53. Ding, ding, ding. 11, I hope. Maya uses blue and orange fabric to make wall decorations. Here's the relationship. What's the constant proportionality as shown in the graph? Well, find the K. Again, I'm going to use Y over X. Just pick a nice Y over X. No. I can pick this guy. That looks nice. No. And that's the only one I can use, I think. Anything else better than that? No. So this point right here is, well, 0.6. This is 0.7. So 0.7. What's the Y value? 0.3. This is my X and this is my Y. So to find the constant proportionality, K equals Y over X, which is 0.3 over 0.7. And you can just simply, that becomes 3 over 7. Right, so because it's a decimal, so let's just make this a little better. Let's multiply the top by 10, multiply the bottom by 10. 0.3 times 10 is 3. 0.7 times 10 is 7. Just a little bit better. So we're looking for something like that, and here's the one. Okay. Now, if you didn't know how to do that, okay, so what you could have done is divide 0.3 divided by 0.7. You would have gotten like a weird number, 0.428. Right? So it's 1.5. If you divide 1 by 2, do you get 0.428? No, you don't. You get 0.5. Divide 2 by 4, do you get 0.428? No, you don't. You get 0.4. Divide 3 by 10, do you get 0.428? No, you get 0.3. So, and if you divide 3 by 7, you actually get 0.428, etc. So this and this one over here, 0.3 over 0.7 is the same thing. Landspot N notebooks that cost 75 cents each and P pens that cost 55 cents each. There's a sales tax of 6.25%. Which expression represents the total amount he paid? Yuck. So I'm looking for something that so I'm looking for something that says 0.75p, right? Because that's how much I'm going to pay for the pens. And then 0.55 for the, sorry, notebooks cost 0.75. So this is N. 0.75 cents for every notebook that I buy, and 0.55 for every pen that I buy. Something that has that combination. This says multiply the tax times. Why am I adding? Well, I can add the notebooks and the pencils plus tax plus. No, this doesn't make sense. Again, I need something that says 0.75 and this it does, but this you're multiplying by the number of notebooks and the number of pens. No, you should be multiplying by the price. The tax should be multiplied by the price. Gone, garbage. So this one says add the total for all the notebooks, the total for all the pens, and it's done correctly, and then add that to 6.25 of that same total, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, so this actually looks good. 0.75 times 6, what do you call the tax, times the number of notebooks, and this one is 0.55 times the tax times the number of notebooks. They forgot the pens, so this is garbage. And this one doesn't even have a P. You need an N and a P. This one is garbage. So the only one, just by default, is P. So here they're asking you to find the total, how much you paid for all the pens and the notebooks. And here they're doing find what's the tax based on all the notebooks and pens that you bought, and then add those two up. Answer is B. Keisha installed a fence along the 200-foot perimeter of a rectangular box. She left an opening for a gate. In the diagram, she used X to represent the length in feet of the gate. What is the value of X? Well, if that's 30, this is 30. So, let's say 60. Alright, so 60 the whole thing, or 60 just up to here? Alright, so let's assume that 60 is from here to here. Okay. Now, if you know that this is 30 and this is 30, that's 60, right? So 200 minus the 30 for this side and minus the 30 on the other side leaves you with 140. So because it's a rectangle, that's 30, that's 30. This whole thing has to be 70, and this whole thing has to be 70 as well. Right? So from here to here 60, that leftover part is 10. A weird question. 14. Last year, 950 people attended a meeting. This year, 1,520 people attended a meeting. What's the percent of increase? So again, percent of increase. The new was 1520. The old was 1950, and then the original. Sorry, not the old. 950. So it was a increase, right? Minus 950. Enter, divide that by 950, and my calculator got 0.6 or 60%. Times 100, 60%. The coach for a basketball team wants to do something. Buy new shoes. So you had, I think you had this question for a test, but I like the question. She wants to buy new shoes for 12 of her players. So store A has a 20% discount. And any shoe is 72.50, and there's a sales tax of 6.5. So let's calculate how much that's going to cost. So 72.50 I'm going to multiply by 12 because I want to buy 12 each one for her players times 12, and that's going to give us a total of 870. Now, let's find the discount. So, if the discount is 20%, that means I'm paying for 80% of the value. So, the price of the shoe after the discount is going to be $696. Now, $696, I'm going to take it to the restaurant. I'm going to pay taxes, right? So $696, and the tax is 6.5, or we can multiply by 1.065, right? And find the price already with the tax. 696 times 1.065. That's going to give us a total of $741.24. So that's what the cost is. The other place, a double dribble, $54.75. So double dribble is 54.75, and there's a processing fee of 9%, and then the shipping fee of $5.99 for each pair. Oh my God! So I don't know if it's a 9% processing fee to the cost of the shoes or the cost of one shoe. Well, that makes a huge difference. The same shoes are available in Double Trouble. A 9% processing fee will be applied to the cost of the shoes. Well, let's multiply this by 12 to see how much she's going to pay first of all. So the shoes are a little bit cheaper, times 12, and that's going to give us $657. Now, she has to pay a processing fee of 9%. So you can multiply this by 9% and then add it to 657, or just do this a little bit easier. Multiply by 1.09. So 655 times 1.09. It's going to give us $708.50 with the processing fee. All right, so 12 shoes with the processing fee is $708.5. Now there's a shipping fee of $5.99 for each pair. Oh my God! So 12 shoes times 5.99 is equals to $71.88. So we have to add $71.88 for the shipping, the stamp. They're going to send it to us. So add it up, plus 708.5, going to give us $780.38. And if you subtract these two, obviously this place, Super Sports, is cheaper. Minus 741.24. That's going to give us $39.14, and that's the difference. Okay. So these are definitely state test questions. Probably day 2 questions, not day 1. Three more questions. Okay. A home improvement store sold wind chimes for $30 each. A customer received a free membership and received 5% discount, then the 5% tax. So $30, you're going to get a 5% discount. That means you're still paying for 95% of it, or 0.95. And after that, you're going to pay a little bit tax, and tax is definitely a little bit more. So you're going to be paying for 1 point, and the tax is 1.05, right? 100% of whatever you're paying plus 5%. So very quickly, that's the only thing you need to write. And you get that you end up paying $29.93. So that would have been your total. If you did this the long way, 30% times 0.05, okay, $30, sorry, you get that it's $1.50. So for your discount's $1.50. All right, so that means that you're now paying $28.50, right? Because you subtract, and then you find the tax, which was 5% or 0.05. So 28.5 times 0.05 equals 1.43, rounded. And then if you add this tax, 28.5 plus 1.43, you get 29.93. See, it's the exact same thing as this side, but this side is so much easier. 16. A contractor is something. It's building the base of a circular fountain. Okay, so it's a circular fountain. The blueprint, the base of the fountain. Let me do my blueprint on my little sketch. The base of a fountain has a diameter. So this has a diameter of 18 centimeters. The scale says 3 centimeters equals 4 feet. Okay, so 3 centimeters in my picture is 4 feet in real life. What will be the actual area of the base of the fountain, square feet? So I want to find the area of the actual. So here's my ratio. 3 centimeters is the same thing as 4 feet. So in my picture, I have 18 centimeters representing the diameter. So times 6, which means in real life, the diameter of that pond there, or fountain, is going to be 24 feet, right? Which means the diameter is 24, the radius, so I can write diameter is 24 feet, and the radius is 12, right? Because this side is 12 and this side is 12, yeah? So now, can I find the area of my circular fountain in real life? Well, that's the easy part now because I have all the information I need. A equals pi r squared. A equals pi times radius, which is 12 squared. A equals 144 pi. Pi feet squared. If they want, okay, well, actually, it says round to the nearest 10, so actually we have to multiply. So A equals, in your calculator, type in 144 times pi, and if you get 144 pi, just press the double arrow button, and you get 452.4, because it says nearest 10th. 452.4 feet square, and that's the area of the circular pond. A lot of work in this question, but it's still a nice question. 2 lines graph show the amounts of water in 2 tanks that they were being filled over time. Okay, tank A and tank B. For each tank, explain whether or not there is a proportional relationship between the amount in gallons and time in minutes. If there's a proportional relation, identify the unit rate. Okay, so A is definitely proportional because it starts in the origin. I can find the unit rate for here, and I'm gonna pick this button, this dot right there. That is 2 over 600, right? So let's just talk about tank B for a second. So tank B, you can write it's proportional because it starts at the origin. It's a straight line, tank B. And you can tell that tank B, proportional, right? Starts at the origin. And the unit rate, right now you know that it's 600 gallons of water in 2 minutes, or the unit rate is going to be 300 gallons of water in 1 minute. Right? So you can sort of see that in 1 minute, look, right here, it's 300 between 2 and 4, so you know that's correct, and you can expand on that under writing. Tank B, it's not proportional because it doesn't start in the origin. But tank A is not proportional. Tank A already has some water, okay, in the tank. It's already started with 600 and something gallons, so tank A already has water in the tank. So it's definitely not proportional. You can say that it doesn't start at the origin, and you can't find the unit rate here. Okay, so the only unit rate you can find is for tank B because it's a proportional relationship. And we're done, I think. Day 25.